evening and welcome back, Poetry Lovers. In the spirit of the pandemic and whatnot, even though events and public appearances are slowly starting to occur again in certain parts of the world, Dustin and I decided to conduct a mini reading where we will alternate between people and we will each perform 2 or 3 pieces. I will let Dustin begin.
Well, this is a recent inspired piece called Only Mine. In the dark, at the altar, where God's crumbs carrion swept, eyes of thought pierced my composure, and I knew what I knew before, but refused to weep, that truth is an angel fear, song to the ends of faith, and that each want in my hungry ears was mine alone, only mine. Excellent.
Yosh.
All right.
So this one is 5 pages, so I'm going to try and not read it as rapidly as possible per se, but I will do my very best to perform the hell out of this piece without skipping over any details. It's probably one of the most passionate exercises of mine. I call it an exercise in passionate anger, passionate frustration. You can see the same exact thing in my play. And normally my pieces aren't so direct. I'm normally more cryptic, abstract, metaphorical with my work, but this was necessary. It's called Saluting the Alabaster Progenies. Hellfire brewing from the second continent, malicious activities, fallen out of grace, weakness rises, predictability written in treasonous blood, triumphantly independent, equality for all. Our forebears made this country spectacular for the white man. White clansman ruins the title of dragon and wizard, turning to triangular ghosts of disgrace. Peace in their doll's eyes involves no color but their own. To lynch is to be honored. To maim is to win every war. White man's rope hung the hangman in a carbon-laden universe. White man in his White House, sequestered in conspiracy's safety, endless halls with treacherous rooms. White American man flaunts his patriotism like an Ivy League graduate with doctorate in hand, boasting of benefits and the many joys of segregation, the splendors of the lack of unresolved issues, separate but equal but sugar-coated. White man's white carpet turns red, the color of betrayal from civil brothers. White textbook man made Jesus a glamorous dentine, lavish robes and biblical aromas, every rendition a fabrication of a holy grail answer. The spear of destiny impales the carcass of white man's previous alter ego. White man demands that you speak the mechanical English language in a country that was never his to begin with. Hungry, hypocritical white man turns his back on the newest families, arriving with aspirations of their own. Immigrants of horrific locations, dictated by those who would murder if questioned. They plead with waterfalls of sincerity, but he drives away in a Korean automobile, wolfing down spiced Pakistani dishes of nourishments. White man just remembered where he placed a great number of Native Americans. White man waves his shielding genitalia. There are but 2 genders. You will never change his mind. White bread man stuffs his face with wholesome artificiality, mayonnaise and marshmallow fluff, white corn tortilla chips and sour cream. He bathes in ivory soap bubbles, cleansing his skin with absorbent microscopic children he released nary an hour ago. White man's stomach trampoline is on display through every mirror. White man utilizes lethal gases and increases oven temperatures, incinerating the roasted flesh of his own class. White man with a badge spreads the honest word that blue lives matter, immediately after gunning down protesters with the only method of communication he has known his entire existence. His breed has made them the enemy since the dawn of sirens. He is yet another statistic on the holy hit list. White man is only erect when his firearm is present. White man promotes himself, skinhead ways of life, the neocon dream of the century. White machismo man extends the impossible, forbidding white women to promote white feminism, equality for all except the majority they call minorities. White man's nuances wag the decaying tail. White man paints a target on the back of every woman. White man inquires about what the term intersectional means. White man, heir of destruction. White man inherited a planet of pollution. White man inhales pollution to be pessimistically optimistic. White settler man 2.0 enslaves the rightful owners of the purest lands, tainting them with rodentious diseases. Listen to the white man's sage words while raping native women into traumatic oblivion. He calls them all filthy savages. White man's fate decided by the arrowhead's end. White man sings of Paradiso. He should have listened to Lilith. His burden is his own. White man in white collar, operating his deceased emerald brethren on numerical paper, privileged above all, shuns the impoverished residing under dank overpasses, begging for half a life. He is quite charitable towards his investors. White man speaks up about his own struggles. White whining man is a staunch supporter of racial division. There are great numbers of ethnic heritage months because he made all progress possible. White man's idea of progress is inevitable defeat. White man pays no heed to the vicissitudes of modern living, for he was always in the past tense. White knight man defends the honor of women who wish to speak for themselves. Bodyguard for the incels, tormented misfits whose virginity is a rabid kennel beast. They spend their funds on deliberate objectification to ogle at a dream that remains a magazine photograph. White man's superiority complex is small penis energy. White man stands alone, kissing his first world problems on the reflecting glass lips. Straight white man weeps, pounding sand about how there is no straight day to celebrate, no straight month with soft gray parades. White man does not comprehend acceptance. White man, straight and diamond mind mundane. White man cries out for his former alliance, yet his abandoned principles retaliate. Abrahamic white man wants you to believe in his white deity. He is welcoming if you join the mountainous army of chanting followers, but points a mortal finger of judgment if you spurn his Lord and Savior. White man's finger is now officially broken. White man loves his orientation, yet the rights of humans beyond his are excluded from his fallen kingdom. White food chain man endangers his fellow creatures by means of bullet kisses and taxidermy trophies. He deserves his bald eagle mascot, a thief and scavenger by natural trade. White man does not discover. His parasitic form feasts on scraps of original delicacies. White man lives his own afterlife, serving white voices with black-face paint, reminder of a world too white for him. I am an independent river, flowing the other direction. My alabaster skin is ashamed to be seen around the lot of you, mutations of descendants, a melting pot of curiosities we ought to be, a species who is eager to learn, but the race has reached the finish line. Dr. Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. CM, for your long poem there. That's an excellent poem, excellent craft there.
Thank you.
Full of Whitman-esque listing qualities, as they call it, I believe. I'm going to read 4 positive reasons for poetry. Literacy adds options to your life. Those who are literate have happier, or at least richer lives for loving books. Many of the incarcerated are functionally and or artistically illiterate. 2. Poetry adds a humaneness to the human dialogue. It beautifies and glorifies the image of man, or humanity. Number 3. Poetry can teach the questioning of language, add a boldness of flavor to one's thinking. It lifts the mind from the everyday appearance of things. 4. Poetry heals. Those who write are more optimistic and more satisfied with life. Poetry brings a daring to romance, a song to human vanity. That is 4 positive reasons for poetry.
I like that list. I like that a great deal. I was actually thinking of making I might have told you about this. I was thinking of constructing what I call an amorous silver lining list. I was going to name women who I've previously dated, whether it's long term or extremely short term, and even though even though the relationship itself did not work out, I was going to list at least one positive thing they either taught me about myself or influenced me to pursue in the future, or even like a certain type of artist they turned me on to. I don't know. I think it's beautiful. I mean, yes, even if the relationship itself doesn't work out and every single factor is completely negative, I still believe that we owe it to ourselves to just create that silver lining. But so I was gonna share a piece of prose as well. So let's see here. All right. In that case, I'm going to read a couple vanity quotes. So, for me, vanity quotes, there are little nuggets of either wisdom or wit that I've created over the past, I don't know, year or 2 years, and I call them vanity quotes because I always feel so arrogant in writing them down. That was a good one. Pat myself on the back. Good ego. Good ego. So I beat others to the punch, and I'm being self-deprecating for the right reasons, and I'm just calling them what they are, vanity quotes. So this one is more witty. I have concocted the perfect name for a business that handles the investigation of individuals who fake speech impediments. It will be called Elmer Fraud. And then, quotes. Alright. Okay. And this one, let's see. Some of you might have seen this one on Instagram, but I'll read it out loud for you. One of the most paradoxical and contradictory statements I have ever made towards myself was, I pride myself on my modesty and humility.
I read a poem from this 2013 little chapbook publication we did several years ago, 2013. It's Valentine's Day special we did. And this is called Let Me Die Tasting of Love. Let me die, but let me taste love. Let me go into the dark star of those eyes, all the while tasting only a smile. Let me make one woman happy, one charming lady, be my lover now. Oh, how short is the path to sweet times. My happiness is nothing to the desert. I am drained of fate like a mirage. O woman, the wilderness has died before me. The music of bliss is so distant. Fate opens his eyes, blind as a stream of freedom. They await my word. Every lie I slit open with the kite of desire. Well, lady darkly dressed, my passion still burns like a flower in me. Though I cannot cry or tell you how your smile kissed my horizon. If this means anything to you, let the storm fade, and let your body drag through love's depth, without a curse or cold heart. The song has faded now. The song has faded, and my lips are dry. Time has wrapped my wrist with a bandage. The ghosts are gone. Their impressions are the hips of the heart. O lady, the words are for you only. Let them suffice to tell you how my golden fire blazes like the end of a cigarette.
I like that one. I truly like that one. It's very, like a lot of your pieces are reflective of Blake. That one's almost inquisitive. I noticed, like, in some of your pieces, sometimes you're inquiring the muse about a certain burning emotion, and with this one, I do feel it's more observant, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just also those those initial feelings where your heart just seems to skip a beat involuntarily. It's a perfect fit for that anthology. By the way, don't worry, kiddies. Water. I always said, if I ever bought a flask, this one was given to me by a wonderful artist, I was going to be one of those smart Alex who would drink water from a flask, so there you go. I have to because I'm not a lightweight with substances, I'm a featherweight. So I'm going to read a draft, one that Dustin said he actually liked, and wrote this 4-part piece called Cyclicus, which some of you can tell is Latin for cyclical. And even though there are 4 parts, it's cyclical. And there's pain, sex, death, goddess, and it circles back to pain at the end. So, reading the part that Dustin requested is part 4, goddess. She sits on exoplanet moonlight, bathing in ashen stillborn stardust, yet still retaining humility for the earthen solace she finds in blessed damnation. She walks on air, leaving clouded judgment footprints before evaporating into a beacon of visual sustenance, flaming statue to marvel at during psychotropic sobriety dreams. Truth in roots, her pastures emerald, though she is not the only glory head, for other unbinding voices expel continuity. She is elation and terror on an illuminated manuscript cover, though bountiful and universally beautiful within its texts, sacraments for the preservation of her unearthed heartbeat. She is a being of time who raises the living to death and raises the dead to uphold the sanctity of life, promising the conclusion to wounds of longing. Invigorated by destiny's altered skies, the universe is not hers alone, intertwined with the diversification of polytheistic subjectivity. This is the pain of not knowing.
Interesting.
You have any more, or do you want to?
Well, that's all for me.
And in that case, that is all for me. Thank you very much for indulging us, Poetry Lov-aaaahs. We hope you enjoyed this lovely little reading, and we hope to perform in person again quite soon. Not Zoom. Soon. Because Zoom is as wonderful as disease.
Correct. Have a nice day.
You hide them. Have a nice day.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Extreme close-up!